Alright, so if you have been paying attention to the ongoing battles over online information control, you probably caught wind of this latest push involving Wikipedia. And it seems like the US Congress is now involved with pressuring the site, specifically the Wikimedia Foundation, to make significant changes, including the potential removal of the early life section from the wiki biographies. And this comes after the Anti-Defamation League labeled the practice of checking these sections as coded hate, arguing it's being weaponized to spread bigotry. And all of this is unfolding amid a House Oversight Committee investigation into alleged biases on the platform. And here's the thing, while some are framing this as a crackdown on Wikipedia's obviously well-documented left-leaning slant, it looks more like a strategic co-opting of conservative grievances to serve a very specific agenda, one tied to shielding certain identities from scrutiny, particularly those related to Israel or Jewish backgrounds in positions of influence. Alright, so let's step back and look at the timeline. And back in March 2025, the ADL released a detailed report accusing a group of 30 Wikipedia editors of coordinating a long-term campaign to inject anti-Israel bias into articles on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And they claimed these editors were downplaying anti-Semitism and violence while amplifying criticism of Israel, with edits ramping up after October 7th.
You must take this deadly seriously. Pushing extremists off Wikipedia might not seem equal to the challenge of pushing Hezbollah north of the Litani River. Capturing TikTok might seem less meaningful than holding on to Mount Hermon. Libelous tweets certainly might seem less deadly than missiles from Yemen. But this is urgent because the next war will be decided based on how Israel and its allies perform online as much as offline.
And the ADL even highlighted how Arabic language pages on Wikipedia glorified groups like Hamas, violating the site's neutrality rules. And the thing is, this report just didn't stay in the shadows, and the whole thing essentially fueled bipartisan action in Congress. By then, 23 congressional members, citing the ADL's findings, expressed concerns to the Wikimedia Foundation about potential abuse by these coordinated actors. And you have lawmakers like Debbie Schultz demanding steps to curb what they called anti-Semitic content. And you have the Trump admin following up with a probe into Wikipedia itself over these bad actors, potentially involving academic institutions and foreign influences. And now the spotlight has turned to the early life section specifically. And if you didn't know, of course, these are parts of the biographies that detail someone's background, including family origins, ethnicity or religion, and the ADL has argued that highlighting this apparently disproportionately focuses on Jewish identity, making it easy for anti-Semites to compile lists and fuel conspiracy theories about overrepresentation in media, politics and finance. And again, they called it coded hate, but basically it's used to point out patterns in societal issues. And with the House Oversight Committee's investigation ongoing, partly in response to the ADL's complaints, now there's real momentum to standardize or eliminate these sections, unless the details are directly relevant to the person's notability.
So she didn't tell you how old she was?
She did.
She did?
Yeah.
How old is she?
She said she was 15.
How did she tell you how old she actually is?
She said she's 15.
She said she's 15. Why are you here? Why are you sitting here?
I'm just having a...
With a fucking 15-year-old?
Having a pizza.
Piece of pizza with a fucking 15-year-old.
It's not against the law.
You think that's okay?
I think it's not against the law.
It's not against the law?
No.
Is that all you spoke about to her?
We've just been talking.
Really?
Yeah, we've been talking and flirting. It's not a big deal.
And even Wikipedia's own rules already emphasize that ethnicity or religion shouldn't be overemphasized if it's not central to someone's work. But this push genuinely feels like it's accelerating changes under the guise of protecting misuse. Like, for some reason, they don't want you to connect some sort of inkling or dots. And of course, Wikipedia's biases aren't new. The site has long been criticized for its left-leaning tilt, something even its co-founder Larry Sanger has hammered on for years. And you have Sanger, who left the project early, calling Wikipedia the most biased encyclopedia in history.
Wikipedia made a real effort at neutrality for, I would say, its first 5 years or so. And then it began a long, slow slide into what I would call leftist propaganda. I mean, it's a harsh description to put on Wikipedia, but at least a lot of the political articles read that way now. But that's because they follow the news media, at least they have done in the last 10 years or so, 10 or 15 years. They've gradually gotten rid of all of blogs, and then more recently they've gotten rid of almost all conservative news sources as sources for their articles. And so as the news media has shifted, and as the establishment, frankly, has shifted more to the left, the content of Wikipedia has followed suit.
And he's argued that the platform's neutrality policy has of course been hijacked, leading to skewed coverage to topics like politics and science and a whole range of other social issues. And you have Glenn Greenwald echoing this on his show.
They say one recent report raised troubling questions about potentially systematic efforts to advance anti-Semitic and anti-Israel information in Wikipedia articles related to conflicts with the state of Israel. And there's a footnote that links to a report by the Anti-Defamation League. That report reports to document, quote, how anti-Israel and anti-Jewish bias undermines Wikipedia's neutrality. What law says Wikipedia has to be neutral? Why does the government have the power to regulate Wikipedia and to make sure that in the government's eyes they're being neutral or fair about a foreign country, about Israel again? And it's not just that they want to regulate the content. Here's the list of the documents that they're demanding Wikipedia turn over. It includes records, communications, or analysis pertaining to possible coordination within academic institutions or other organized efforts to edit or influence content identified as possibly violating Wikipedia's standards. Also, records showing identifying a unique characteristic of accounts, including names, IP addresses, registration dates, user activity logs for editors subject to action, and then any analysis conducted or reviewed by the Wikipedia Foundation or any third party acting on its behalf of patterns of manipulation or bias relating to anti-Semitism and conflicts with the state of Israel. In sum, they're trying to find the identity of the people who are contributing to Wikipedia or the editors who are making decisions about what the articles will say that in their mind are too critical of Israel. Every week, literally, I'm not even exaggerating, every week there's some new censorship campaign sponsored by primarily the Republican Party, which is in control of the Senate, the House, and the White House, that has no purpose other than to shield and protect Israel from criticism, try and clamp down on the ability of Israel criticism to be heard in the United States, as polls increasingly show that Americans are rapidly turning against it for the obvious reason that they've been watching Israel blow up entire families and children for 22 months now, starving them to death. And in response to that polling, they're increasingly trying to control the flow of information. So we're talking here about control of a new AI 24/7 surveillance system that scrapes the internet and reports to the government what it thinks shouldn't be said, accompanied by a school district forcing every public school to fly an Israeli flag, and yet another committee investigation, this one led by Nancy Mace, who's running for governor, wants AIPAC's money, to try and uncover the identity, destroy the anonymity for Wikipedia contributors if they are contributing what she or people in the government regard as anti-Israel information.
And you can obviously see this with the examples abound, with Wikipedia obviously downplaying controversies about topics like gender ideology or climate change, while Wikipedia itself are amplifying narratives aligned with the establishment views. And never forget that time there was this editor at Wikipedia who had the entire page on Muslim grooming gangs in the UK edited to claim it was a far-right moral panic. And the page has since been deleted altogether, but redirecting to a general entry on group-based child sexual exploitation. And yet the current pressure doesn't seem to primarily be around fixing that broader left bias. And the spookiest thing is when you dig into the discourse on X and conservative circles, you see a mix of some Republicans and right-wing voices obviously cheering on the investigation as a way to address Wikipedia's woke leanings, like its handling of Israel-critical content or progressive activism. But a closer look suggests astroturfing. Like when I was researching, those AI slob profiles and coordinated posts pushing the narrative that Wikipedia should be censored, awfully 9 times out of 10 looks like it's due to because Wikipedia says Israel does bad stuff. They're very much ignoring the other biases that most of conservatives are actually concerned about.
They're going on Wikipedia, rewriting articles, mostly on Israel and Palestine. This is a coordinated effort to manipulate public opinion. They made 2 million edits across 10,000 pages.
Congress just launched an investigation into Wikipedia. Why? Because Wikipedia, as you already may have noticed, has been hijacked by a group of editors with ulterior motives. This coordinated group made nearly 1 million edits across 10,000 articles. And these were not just little edits. We're talking removing the description of Hamas as an internationally recognized terror organization, instead describing them as a political social movement. We're talking removing references to their 1988 charter where they call for the elimination of all Jews. We're talking erasing documented reports of sexual violence. Even the definition of Zionism was changed to mean a movement to establish and support a Jewish homeland through the colonization of Palestine. Zionists wanted to create a Jewish state in Palestine with as much land, as many Jews, and as few Palestinian Arabs as possible. Whether we like it or not, when students, journalists, lawmakers, anybody Googles a topic, Wikipedia is often the first thing they read. And what they have been seeing has been rewritten to serve an ideological agenda. And now, finally, Congress wants answers. Who is behind this? What foreign groups may be involved? How deep does the manipulation go? So many people are convinced that they are not consuming propaganda without actually knowing what it looks like.
It's like their real goal is to leverage conservative frustrations over the left's censorship to actually target their specific protections, such as obscuring early life details that allow people to notice patterns in power structures, be it may. And the ADL's involvement from Israel, including speeches for total oversight of Wikipedia, just underscores this. Like, it's not about neutrality, it's not about controlling narratives that could somewhat lead to criticisms of Israel or fuel whatever they term as anti-Semitism. Anyways, no one wants the early life section scrubbed. I mean, the meme has evolved to a whole nother level. Well, people themselves saying they've evolved beyond needing an early life section to spot these connections, like a sort of sixth sense now, honed by years of observing media, finance, and politics. And apparently scrubbing the sections won't actually erase the awareness. So yeah, it's pretty insane. Yeah, so it's not genuine reform of Wikipedia's left bias. It's just co-opting the right to advance an insidious agenda that prioritizes protecting the powerful over transparency. So anyway, what do you guys think? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, subscribe, and peace.